Christmas and the entire holiday season holds many things for all of us. Childhood memories, parties, celebration, gifts, family, and also stress. Consumerism on overload, pressure, grief, loss, loneliness, financial hardship, all of those things. And sometimes we get so caught up in what we think the holiday should be or what we're told it should look like on Instagram and TikTok and social media, television, Hallmark movies. We get so caught up in what we think we should be doing that we get to the other side in January and it is all a blur. And we stop and think to ourselves, what just happened? Did I actually talk to or connect with anyone in my family or my neighborhood or at my children's school or at work? Did I actually help anybody in need? Like, what exactly just happened? What did it all mean? And as you know, in this podcast, All There Is, we are committed to sharing the human experience so that we can connect, shift paradigms, make the world a little smaller. And one of the ways we do that is by learning and talking about real people with real stories, living very real lives. No celebrities here, right? It's just, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is what's really happening in our homes and in our lives and in our communities. And in today's In Real Life episode, we are going to learn how one woman's simple idea literally blew up a small town in upstate New York and created a way for a community to come together and connect with each other in a very poignant and heartfelt way. Welcome to All There Is. I'm your host, Kelly Bargabas. Thanks for tuning in today. Camden, New York is a small town with a population of 2,143. Like many similar towns in upstate New York, it was once anchored and defined by wire mills and factories like the Hardin Furniture Factory. But in the last few decades, those industries have mostly left the area. But lifelong residents, Amy and her husband Joe, remain committed to the small town life and the perks it brings, especially while they were raising their 4 kids, Bree, Nathan, Marley, and Brooke. Amy Christmas, yes, that is her real last name, and I were in the same high school class and graduated together. I knew her and her husband Joe when they were high school sweethearts. 30 years ago, in 1994, they moved into their home on Emmons Circle when there were just 2 houses on the street, and now are the longest-standing residents, even though it has expanded to 18 homes. While big cities and larger suburban areas may offer more amenities, Amy thinks the benefits outweigh anything they might sacrifice to live in a town like Camden.
So I am Amy Christmas, and I am a lifelong resident of Camden, and I born and raised here and just absolutely love this town. There are many things good and bad to say about living in a small town, but I think all of the wonderful things outweigh any negatives. Yes, living in a small town means you have to travel to get, to some of the amenities and the better things. But living in a small town has been just fabulous for me and raising my 4 children. And I would not change it for the world. I knew early on in high school that I just wanted to be a mom, raise my family, raise my kids in this type of a village. And both Joe and I, high school sweetheart, as you know, we just ended up both feeling the same way, and we settled and stayed here. For me, there's always pressures and there's influences. But for me, I felt like there wasn't as many of those struggles that the kids would have to come up against as you would have in the larger cities. We were more of a close-knit community, so I knew what was going on. I would hear things. And some people call that a detriment. I don't. I thought it was positive because I knew, okay, maybe they shouldn't be hanging in that crowd, or maybe I need to go talk to the teachers. I think they might not be doing as well in school that they're telling me, or whatever. So I just feel that smaller community is and was very beneficial for raising my kids here. And they didn't have those other pressures that I think and again, I didn't raise them in a city. It's just my perception that they might have endured being in a larger city, in a larger school district, where they might get lost and just be a number.
Hallmark movies have gained a national zeitgeist in our culture and have an almost cult like following. And Netflix has really taken over that space for the cliche ridden movie template. And oftentimes, in fact, most of the time, those movies take place in small towns like Camden, New York. Is that what Christmas is really like in a small town?
Well, this year is even more fabulous because we just had our inaugural tree lighting in the village of Camden, and that was last weekend. And it was just like you see in the Hallmark movies. It was so special. The tree was lit absolutely beautiful. There was children singing. There were just activities for the kids. They had the special goat. They just had all these events going on. And as cold as it was, you didn't even notice how cold it was. I had my granddaughter with me, and she was able to make her own little ornament. She drew it, colored it, and then was able to place it on the newly lit Christmas tree. And obviously, this was the inaugural year, and it was so special. And I have the most beautiful, beautiful picture of my youngest daughter holding her up to the tree, putting her on it.
Mm,
And it's just special, just so
yeah.
special. So that was hopefully something to continue. And then moving forward, we are having our Camden holiday stroll. I'm not sure how many years they've been doing that, but all the local businesses open up in the evening hours. I believe it's from 5 to 8. And then this year it's going to be December 13th, Friday evening. And everybody just goes around into all the shops, and there's tons of activities in the village park. There's a live nativity. And again, additional, there's choir, there's singing people all over. There's just lots of activities going on, and it is so much fun.
When I first heard the story that we're hearing today, I joked with Amy that this had all the plot points of a Hallmark movie. The pitch would be something like a woman with the last name Christmas has spent her whole adult life hating inflatable holiday decorations. But then, one year, she decides to put down her long-standing grudge against the innocent snowmen, reindeer, and Santas that just want to spread a little joy and holiday spirit and inspires a whole town to join her.
It started last year, and I have to preface it by saying it is my opinion. I know other people may not like this, but I detest inflatables. I just absolutely detest them. All my children can tell you we did not have an inflatable in my yard all the years they grew up. I just was not allowed. I know there was one year my husband bought one and thought he was going to get it by because all the kids wanted it. And needless to say, it went on the back deck where like it couldn't be seen by anyone else. And I allowed so they could see it out our back window. And that was it. I just detest them. That's just me. So last year, I believe it was a TikTok, I saw where there were these large Santas all lined down a road. And I thought that was just the coolest thing. And it brought such a smile to my face. I just thought that looks really cool. And I thought we could really do that on Emmons Circle here in Camden. So within a short time, I was able to just text a couple of neighbors that I kind of know a little bit better than other neighbors. And I threw the idea out to them. I said, okay, listen, I am not into inflatables, but do you think we could do this? Do you think this would happen? Well, they jumped on board. They loved it. So within an hour, we all put together, we compiled everybody on the circle, all a cell phone, so that we had somebody from each household. I then put out a group text. I linked in the 10-foot Santa, and I said, this is my idea. I'd love if anybody and whoever wants to join in the fun, let's do it. Well, lo and behold, every single person except for one decided to join in. And we set a date and a time that we would all gather outside. and help whoever needed help in getting them installed. And then we would light them. And we drove around, we did a video, and everybody was waving. And it was just so much fun. And neighbors that didn't know other neighbors, believe it or not, is small. I think there's like 17 houses because they might be on the other side of the circle. They just didn't interact or they didn't know each other. It brought us all together. It was just a wonderful time. So that was last year. And so since last year, that started a group neighborhood text. And it's just been wonderful because even if somebody needed something, hey, can you check on my house? I'm at work, but I see there's something going on at my house. Could you help out? Or my dog got out. If anyone sees my dog, could you help? Things like that. So just a sense of community went on just in our own little neighborhood because of that one Santa event that we had. So now you fast forward to this year, but then I went a step further and I thought, I'm gonna write a challenge on the Camden Facebook page. And it was just a simple challenge to say, this was how my thought came about last year. I challenge any other streets in the village to do the same. So again, and I outlined what my vision was, which was all similar inflatables on a street. Get together with your neighbor and figure out what inflatable design you might want, and then line them all up so that as you're driving down, it's the visual thing and it's fun, and it will gather you together. Well, I did not know how it was going to blow up. And it is just, so many neighbors have come to me and thanked me and said, we didn't know, Joe Blow 2 doors down, and this one's helping this one set it up. And then we had a couple local businesses pitch in and say, we'll help out, we'll help buy these that can't afford to. And it's just been a tremendous response. I know, for example, Parnassus Street, they got theirs done. They had their little community event in their neighborhood. And again, they shared how fun they had also meeting neighbors that they hadn't met before. Florence Hill Road looks fabulous because Florence Hill Road's a very straight, long road. And they chose Christmas trees, green Christmas trees, and they're closer to the road. So as you're driving down, you see all these lit green trees. It looks beautiful. So I do know some of the communities have, some of the streets have theirs. Oh, and Third Street, a lot of those have them. Oswego Street is just now starting to get theirs. They have polar bears with gingerbread men on the back. Route 13 and Oswego Street. Theirs have come in too. So they're slowly coming in and being installed. But I think by next weekend, especially by the holiday stroll on the 13th, I think the community's really going to be looking pretty fabulous.
All cliches aside, the holiday season is not the happiest time of year for a lot of people. Families are estranged and not speaking to people they love. Addicts are still using. There is so much pressure on families that are already struggling financially, and the holidays can just put families over the edge. People are still going hungry. People are still homeless and living on the streets. All of those things are still happening. And the antidote to all of that human suffering is connection. And that's exactly what Amy's idea offered people in this town.
So many people are hurting at Christmas time, and people don't necessarily think about that. They don't realize that. And I didn't really go in with the intention because I didn't know it was going to blow up this much. And again, I keep using blow up because it's really truly what it is. I didn't go in with the intention that it was going to be this huge, right? I just wanted to make some people smile and bring some Christmas joy and spread blessings to whoever might need it, not realizing that it truly, truly has brought this whole community together. It's really lifting up people that they've acknowledged. I don't normally do well at Christmas because of this, that, or the other. And this is bringing a smile to my face. I love the sense of community that's going on, or, just lots of comments like that. And it's just such a blessing. It makes me so happy. I didn't plan this. It definitely is God driven. I'm a very faithful person. And I just believe that, this blew up for a reason.
we are a country full of communities that need healing, especially after this last election season. We need to be reminded of what connects us rather than constantly be bombarded with what divides us. And an idea like this is a way to do that.
I think Camden is a beautiful community. I think supporting local business is wonderful. I think Main Street is trying to get revitalized, and we're doing good. Like I just mentioned, we have the bookstore opening. We have a bakery that has purchased one of our downtown storefronts that's in the process of being renovated, and her treats are delicious. So I just want people to know that this is a beautiful community.
And what's happened in Camden shows us that it doesn't always have to be a big idea. The idea can be simple. It just needs to be given life, right? I remember a quote that went something like this: "There's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come." And that's what this story reminds me of. It was time for this idea to blow up, pun intended. And Amy Christmas gave it life.
Don't ever think your ideas, your dreams are too small. You don't know how impactful your idea or your dream can be. Graveyards, are just filled with untapped ideas and thoughts, and we need to actually release them and let them out when we're thinking about them. Don't push them down, and because you don't know how they are going to impact somebody else. And so just like you just said, my one little thought to challenge, I was thinking a couple streets, and now it literally is the whole community.
Thanks, Amy. I'm very grateful for people like you who are willing to post things on a hometown's Facebook page and actually call out your fellow residents and neighbors to share in this idea with you, calling them out to step up, to extend a hand, to put up an inflatable.
And I'm just glad to be able to. This is just one little tiny thing. I feel like I wish I could do more for our community. It's not like yes, I'm self-employed, but I don't have a business on Main Street or whatever like that. But, I am hoping that, this little thing that I have done will bring people to our community, will bring them to stop at some of our local businesses. Maybe they'll come to the holiday stroll. I didn't think this was going to, grow to be what it is. And we'll just have to see. I just keep letting my mind be open and hope for whatever the next vision is, and just let it happen.
Thanks for tuning in and listening to the real-life story of Amy Christmas and her hometown of Camden, New York. If you are looking for something out of a Hallmark movie, on Friday, December 13th from 5 to 8 p.m., Camden is having their holiday stroll. The shops on Main Street will be open, carolers will be singing, Santa will be there, as well as a live nativity in the park. And of course, you can drive around and look at all of the different holiday-themed inflatables, street by street. They even have their own Facebook page now, and it's called Camden Santa's Inflatable Extravaganza. You can find pictures of what's happening in town with all of the inflatables, and it will list the 40 streets that are now participating and what their theme is. So check it out. If you're looking for something that's very Hallmarky to do next Friday night on December 13th, go to Camden. And it will be a great way for you to connect with your family. If you don't have a family that's nearby or that you're speaking to or whatever the situation is, invite somebody. Take the opportunity to plug yourself in and connect yourself to this amazing holiday idea. You can find all the podcast episodes from All There Is on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, my website, kellybargabas.com. I wish you and yours a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holiday, a Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. And if you don't celebrate any of those, I wish you peace. I hope you find joy. And most of all, I want you to find some small way to connect with people within your own home and also those outside your walls. Amy challenged her entire hometown, and now I'm challenging all of you listening. Find a way. It can be a simple idea, but find a way to share, connect, Make this world, your world, a smaller place, even if only for a season. Until we meet again, take care.